How do you feel he performed?
Oh, I think he played well. And there was a couple decisions he had to make once he was forced away from the pocket and made some really nice throws in the red zone, very accurate. Here's one here. He rolls out now. Watch. Yellow's going to tell you that basically, you know what, it could be a dangerous throw. The green is he's open. Watch him wait it out. But what I like, he squared his shoulders up and made a nice throw. Bought time coming outside the pocket, you know, and look downfield here again. We got a free runner. He didn't panic. He knows the back's going to pick him up. 4-man rush. He's looking downfield and watch. He squares his shoulders up again. I mean, and this is the part. He looks down the field, finds a little window, threads it right in there. So that right there for a rookie quarterback.
When Herm Edwards, a man who spent decades in the NFL and knows quarterback talent when he sees it, calls a rookie pretty impressive after only one preseason game, you know something out of the ordinary just happened. Before we dive deeper, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of this unfolding QB drama. In Charlotte, Shedeur Sanders didn't just show up, he changed the conversation. He walked into Bank of America Stadium as the Cleveland Browns' forgotten man, slotted at QB4 on the depth chart, and walked out as the most talked about player of the night. Coach Prime, his father, was going absolutely wild on social media, but even his proudest tweets couldn't capture the shockwave that hit Cleveland. ESPN ran their highlights, sure, but they didn't tell you what those 45 snaps really meant for the Browns' quarterback picture. This wasn't just a rookie making a couple of nice throws. This was a quarterback who had been quietly counted out, flipping the entire script in one evening. Just a few days earlier, the outlook for Sanders was bleak. Cleveland's quarterback room was crowded. Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Joe Flacco had already claimed the top 3 spots. Some analysts even predicted Sanders wouldn't survive final roster cuts. The narrative was that he was talented but raw, perhaps a project for the practice squad at best. But then came Friday night against the Panthers. In that game, Sanders did more than play football. He commanded the field. On the very first drive, he moved the offense with calm, precise throws, finishing the night completing 14 of 23 passes for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns, all in just one half of football. The Browns went on to crush the Panthers 30-10, but the score wasn't the real story. The story was that the supposed 4th-string quarterback looked like he belonged in the starting conversation. After the game, Sanders' post-game comments showed exactly why he's been underestimated. "Ball's ball, but ball's never been a problem for me," he said. "It's whatever optics people create outside the game. But in the game, y'all know who I am. I know I'm ready for the moment. Did I play up to par? No, I don't think I did. But ultimately, the main goal was to win, and that's exactly what we did." That self-criticism, even after a near-flawless outing, told you something important. This is a player with bigger goals than just making the team. He's chasing greatness. What made this performance so Edwards pointed out that on multiple occasions, when Sanders was flush from the pocket, he didn't panic. Most rookies in that spot either scramble recklessly or dump the ball into the stands. Instead, Sanders kept his eyes downfield, reset his feet, squared his shoulders, and delivered strikes. One throw, in particular, rolling to his left, with a linebacker bearing down, stood out. Sanders flipped his hips, threw across his body, and hit his receiver just beyond the chains for a first down. That's not a lucky throw, that's mechanics, awareness, and confidence all coming together. And remember, this came just weeks after he was battling arm soreness in camp. That injury had sparked questions about whether his body could hold up in the NFL. Yet here he was, moving freely, throwing with zip, and even taking off for 19 rushing yards on 4 carries when the defense gave him space. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski admitted he was impressed with Sanders' command of the offense. The plan had been to give him around 50 plays. He ended up with 45, covering nearly 3/4 of action. That's an unusually heavy preseason workload for someone buried on the depth chart, and it meant plenty of film for the coaches to review. But perhaps the most telling sign of the team's growing interest came from the sideline. Joe Flacco, the seasoned veteran, stood watching intently as the rookie went to work. Not in a dismissive, just another preseason game way, but with the focus of someone recognizing real competition. If the Browns' quarterback depth chart had seemed locked a week ago, it suddenly wasn't. With Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel both managing injuries, the door had cracked open for someone to grab higher rep practice snaps. And Sanders, with his combination of poise, accuracy, and mobility, had just kicked that door a little wider. The ripple effects of that night in Charlotte weren't just about numbers on a stats sheet. They were about perception, both inside the Browns facility and across the league. Shedeur Sanders didn't look like a quarterback overwhelmed by the speed of the NFL game. He looked like someone who had been here before, who knew exactly how to navigate chaos and turn it into opportunity. In the red zone, where defenses tighten and rookie quarterbacks often force mistakes, Sanders was at his sharpest. Both of his touchdown passes came under heavy pressure. On the first, he stood tall as the pocket collapsed, waited that extra beat for his tight end to break free, and delivered the ball low and away from the defender. On the second, he rolled right, avoided a sack, and fired a laser to the back corner of the end zone, where only his receiver could make the catch. Those are the kinds of decisions that separate a game manager from a game changer. Herm Edwards highlighted this in his breakdown. He's not just playing quarterback, he's managing situations like a 5-year veteran. That's rare, and that's why I said he's pretty impressive. Coming from Edwards, that wasn't lip service. It was an acknowledgement that Sanders might have something Cleveland has been missing for years: stability under center. And that's the bigger context here. The Browns' history at quarterback is littered with false starts and fleeting flashes of hope. Since returning to the league in 1999, they've cycled through over 30 different starters. Fans have endured years of inconsistency, promising rookies who fizzled and expensive veterans who never delivered. Against that backdrop, it's no wonder Sanders' debut feels different. Even the locker room seemed to respond to him. Teammates talked about his composure in the huddle, his willingness to take responsibility for missed plays, and his ability to quickly build chemistry with receivers he hadn't taken many reps with in practice. For a quarterback, winning over the locker room is just as important as impressing the coaching staff. Of course, one preseason game doesn't guarantee anything. The NFL is ruthless and momentum can vanish as quickly as it appears. But Sanders' mix of humility and competitive fire is hard to ignore. He called the game subpar, even as fans and analysts praised it as one of the best rookie debuts of the preseason. That mindset, never satisfied, always looking for improvement, is exactly what keeps a player climbing. If you zoom out, Shedeur Sanders' preseason debut feels less like a lucky break and more like the opening chapter of a much larger story. This wasn't just about throwing 2 touchdowns or looking sharp against the Panthers. It was about altering the trajectory of his rookie season and possibly Cleveland's quarterback plans. The Browns came into the year with what seemed like a settled rotation. Kenny Pickett as the starter, Dillon Gabriel developing as a promising backup, and Joe Flacco bringing veteran insurance. Sanders? He was supposed to be the long-term project, the quarterback you stash and slowly groom. But football has a way of shattering expectations in the blink of an eye, and that's exactly what happened on Friday night. With Pickett and Gabriel nursing injuries, the Browns' upcoming joint practices with the Eagles could be Sanders' golden ticket. If he gets more reps with the first and second team, it's a chance to show what he can do against top-tier defensive talent. And if he delivers again, Stefanski and the coaching staff will have no choice but to rethink the pecking order. Off the field, Sanders' personality is quickly becoming part of the conversation. He's confident without being arrogant, grounded yet driven. That balance matters in Cleveland, a city that values hard work and resilience. His comments after the game, focused on the win, critical of his own performance, struck the right chord with both fans and teammates. Herm Edwards' pretty impressive remark might go down as the understatement of the preseason, because what he really saw was a rookie with the mental makeup, mechanical polish, and leadership traits to compete for more than just a roster spot. He saw someone who could potentially stabilize a position that has been Cleveland's biggest weakness for decades. Yes, it's only one game. Yes, the road ahead will be full of challenges. Defenses will adjust, mistakes will happen, and the pressure will only grow. But for now, the Browns have a reason to be excited. They have a rookie who just might be the kind of quarterback fans have been waiting for. A leader who thrives under pressure, embraces the grind, and plays the game with both heart and precision. Smash that subscribe button, hit notifications, and drop a comment. Has Shedeur Sanders already locked this up, or does Dillon Gabriel still have a shot? Whatever happens next, it's going to be must-watch football. So don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin.